Hello viewers, you're most welcome to Soaring with Eagles show. My name is Pastor Joy Ninsiima, and this is a show that will inspire you. I always bring guests that tell their stories of resilience, things that they have gone through, challenges that they have gone through in their careers, but have a success story to tell. Now today I have an amazing guest. He is Justice Mike Chibita of the Supreme Court. You are most welcome, my Lord.
Thank you, Joy.
Yes, I think for those who will have watched another show, they will have understood why I've called you my Lord.
Okay.
But maybe you can explain to them.
Court systems world over are very conservative and hierarchical organizations. So when you're referring to the judges, you have to call them by their titles. And so justices of the courts of appeal and the Supreme Court and the High Court are called my Lord, Lordship.
Yes.
And then the magistrates are called Your Worship.
Your Worship.
Yes.
Okay.
So that is kind of a professional way of addressing.
Yes. So, my Lord, can you start by telling us a bit about your childhood? How did you grow up?
Yes.
Yes.
So I grew up in a family of 11 children.
Mm-hmm.
And I was number 5 when we were growing up.
Yes.
My dad was a primary school teacher and my mom was a housewife. It was very interesting, exciting childhood. And especially when you're number 5, you are neither among the young nor among the old.
Yeah.
You kind of enjoy being in the middle there. Yes. And those days, primary schools were equipped with teachers' houses. So we're always at school. And going to school even after hours, weekends, to the field, climbing trees at the school with other teachers' children.
Right.
And then, of course, going to church on Sunday. Yeah. Teachers' children had to be at church and sit at
Was that an Anglican?
Anglican, yes, Anglican. And this was in Butaleja district now.
Butaleja.
Then it was Bunyole County, but now it's called Butaleja district.
Okay.
So that's where I was from primary 1 up to primary 7.
Up to primary 7.
Yes.
So, okay, tell us a bit about after P7, your educational background.
Yes, educational background is after primary 7, which I had sat a second time. So and some of the things I learned later, because when I sat PLE the first time, I got a first grade, but my dad said I had to repeat because I hadn't done very well to get to a school which he approved of.
So you get a first grade, but you have to repeat.
Yes. Because when I got that first grade, I did not get admission to a boarding school. I got admitted to a day school. And my dad and my parents just had something against boarding schools. Yes. My big brother had gone to Busoga College Mwiri. My next sister had gone to Navamali. My other brother had gone to Teso College. The sister I followed went to Namagunga. So they had set high standards.
High standards, yes.
Just said. So I, of course, was discouraged, but I said I must go. And to know that I wanted to set the standard high, I had started talking with God, communicating, and I said, I'm going to do this one more time, and I'm going to put Budo. And see if I don't get it, then I give up on school.
At that time, that was like the best school in Uganda.
I think not that time, up to now. It is still the best school, unless something that happened that I don't know about. Anyway, long story short, yes. I managed to get admitted into Budo. Yes.
Wow.
And then I was there for 6 years. Yeah.
So what was your experience in Budo?
Budo, one of the best experiences one can ask for in a secondary school. Yeah, Budo then was a very, very prestigious school, was having children from all over the country. We had kids from Kabale, we had kids from Kasese, many from Northern Uganda, Eastern Uganda, a big mix. We had ministers' children, ambassadors' children, teachers' children, peasants' children, but we all mixed and your loyalty was more to your dormitory.
Right.
And once you belong to a dormitory, you became very, very close. Some of the best friends and the long-lasting friends we made through Budo. And also the other very important thing is while I was at Budo, I found Christ in a big way. Yeah. And I found Christ through a fellowship called Bazukufu, Real Awakened, which...
Can you imagine?
Yes. I was with the Bazukufu, and it was a very, very good experience. I learned a lot. I learned about walking in the light, repenting of sins, and, fellowship, accountability. Very, very productive time in my Christian life. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, of course, you said something. You said that when you repeated P7, you spoke to God.
Yes.
But by then you were not born again.
Now, what happens when I got that first grade that year? My sister was working in Mbale. So she had told my dad, no, let him come and study with me. And dad had allowed. So I had gone to senior 1. And when I was in Mbale, then I went to a deliverance church.
Yes.
This was my first time outside an Anglican church. And that time, the preacher was preaching from Revelation 3:20. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. And if anybody opens the door, I'll come in and sup with them, and they will sup with me. And they made an altar call, and I went. That was in 1977, many years ago. So, but my dad recalled me from senior 1 before first term ended, but I had had that encounter. So I was just beginning to learn how to talk to God, communicate, and say that I don't have to wait for Sunday to talk to God. So I was having a relationship. Of course, when I went back to repeat P7, I suffered a bit of setback because I was asking myself questions. It is not,
it's not
normal to go to senior 1 and then come back to P7. But parents those days, once they said something, you did it.
Was done.
You
Yes.
did not question.
Yes.
And so if dad said, come back and do this, I had to do it. So by the time I was repeating, I was communicating with God and talking to him. I said, okay, I've obeyed my parents, I've honored, but this is a tough call. Yeah. So that's when I said, no, but I'm doing it. If I don't do it well enough to please my dad and to go to a place, I am not going to do it again. Yeah. That is the background.
So now you are with the Bazukufu.
Yeah. So when I went to Budo, I had grown cold in my Christianity because of the setbacks and the struggles. So when I met, there is a gentleman called Paul Bachbinga. He's on BBC. So he was in our dormitory, and he came to witness to me, actually. And then I told him, no, actually, I had gotten saved, but there were so many issues. I'm now not interested. Yeah. So he invited me to the fellowship. And then I didn't know about Bazukufu and all, but late, after being in for some time, I realized the fellowship I was in was Bazukufu. But they were very, very serious young men, sharing the gospel, reading the Bible, and one thing I always talk about is the Bazukufu would wake up at 5 a.m. So as students, they would come and wake us up, fellow students, and we would go for morning prayers, our own, in one of the cubicles of the students. And this was every day, Monday to Sunday. And so I now wake up from that time just automatically. I cannot sleep beyond.
You wake up at 5.
Yes. It's like my clock was tuned. Yeah. And it's one of the best things.
Yes. A discipline that was instilled in you.
Yes. It's a discipline that was instilled.
Okay, that's very interesting. Of course, you told me on a one-on-one that somehow you decided to.
Yeah, so 6 years, of course, I did the O-level, went back and did arts, and eventually I came to Makerere to do law. But at that age, you have so many questions. And then the other thing was in that fellowship, you repenting and walking in the light. Some people may not know, but when you go into the fellowship meeting, then you have to repent of the sins.
You have to stand in front of everybody and tell them what you did wrong.
Yes. And you can guess what is on the mind of a young man, teenager man.
Yes,
at that time.
yes,
So
yes.
it's like we are repenting of the same sin of lust and this and the other. So of course you do it, but sometimes you feel like, every day I'm repenting of lustful thoughts every day. And you know, the headmaster was a member of the fellowship and some teachers. So it was quite humbling, but it was
So you were questioning the doctrine.
Yeah, eventually doctrine and then there were also do's and don'ts. We didn't have
you have to cut your hair.
Cut your hair, cut your beard, put on turn-up trousers. That time was time of bell bottoms. So most people were wearing bell bottoms, and for us were prohibited. And then boys would sit on one side, girls on the other side. Not that we wanted, but you could not have a girlfriend or a boyfriend. Those were prohibited. So there were a lot of. So when you get to S6, you begin questioning, what is the basis of this? What is the basis? And so when I came to Makerere, it was like I tried this thing as a Pentecostal and it didn't work out.
Okay.
Now I've tried it as a Muzukfu Church of Uganda.
It's not working.
I think let me just live my life without all this.
That was in now Makerere.
Makerere now first year. I had mentally made up my mind that no, I think these things of are confusing me. Yeah. Let me just live my old life where I'm just going to church every Sunday. But now God, they said, is a wonderful thing to fall into the hands of God. So Paul was ahead of me, so he had come, and we had bonded well with him.
So Paul is the one who had introduced you.
Yes. And there are people who I found there, another Paul Raktarate.
Yes.
Dungu, Dr. Peter Dungu, they came after me, Edward Kalevu, Tom Senfuma, Andrew Mungerera, doctor, and these were all in England House, my house. So we had a very close-knit fellowship. So I felt accountable to Paul when I came to university. Paul bachelor, and he was also in law school. So I went to him and said, Paul, you know, you invited me to this. It was a good 6 years and all, but I think I want to take a break. I didn't tell him I'm quitting. I said, I want to take a break. And then he told me that, okay, what you went through, I also went through. And, but you cannot quit without trying it somewhere else. So he said, you come to a church I've started attending, and if you don't like it, you are free to do what you want. So he invited me to Kampala Baptist Church. I didn't know it was Kampala Baptist Church. He just led me there. And the format of Kampala Baptist Church was that you do 10 to 11 Bible study. You go into a Bible study class. Now, I entered this Bible study class. There was a doctor called Rick Goodgame, those who handled AIDS when the AIDS pandemic was here. He was one of the leaders. He was a medical doctor, but he was a missionary. So he was the one leading that Bible study, and it was full of university students. I spent the 1 hour in that Bible study just almost open-mouthed.
You had found
the students. So what I didn't know, I thought everybody in that Bible study was born again. I found out later that no, it was a mix. It was open to anybody who wanted to learn. And so they were asking all the questions I had always been wanting to ask, but fearing. And they were challenging the Bible, and he was just having a nice time with them, saying, this one I don't know, this one I think, what does this? So it was a very enlightening moment for me, and feeling like, oh, so you can ask questions and you are not you are not breaking the law, you are not sinning. Yes. So Paul didn't even need to tell me, but I said, I want to come and attend this study again. Yeah. So for me, the Bible study was more inviting than, but the other thing that happened to me at that church is when we finished the Bible study, now I was going to enter, and there was a gentleman called Dick Otto. He said, "Oh, welcome to church. Have you been here? Welcome. Come and sit here." And so, as I mentioned, I had never been welcomed to church before. You know,
that's interesting.
Yeah. Traditionally, people don't welcome people to church.
Oh.
Everybody just gets in and finds their seat. Yeah. Now, these days, you find some churches, but it is a small thing. But for me, it was like, wow, somebody is welcoming me. Is this his church?
Yes.
Or what role does he?
Yes.
So, but I felt at home and I started attending that church, and then I found many university students, and basically, it suited me. So in a way, God, just when I was about to fall off.
That's the Baptist church.
Kampala Baptist Church.
Okay.
Yes.
Where you still are.
Where I still go in Kampala. Now I have to clarify this. I always clarify.
Yes.
So I go to Kampala Baptist Church in Kampala. When I go to my village in Buesa, I go to St. James Church of Uganda.
Which is the Anglican church.
Yes.
Okay.
Some people get confused by this. I have no...
You have no problem
with it. Yeah.
Yes.
Because I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. And once Christ is in a place... In fact, now I feel like in Kampala, I go to get fed, and but in the village I have a lot of work to do with the Wananchi, teaching them, helping. We actually helped the community build that church where it is now. It was a grass thatched now we set up. So yeah, it is serving the Lord. And of course, that also has come in hand now that I'm president of the Bible Society, which encompasses all Bible-believing churches.
The building that was
open. A building that was open.
By the First Lady recently.
Yes. Yeah. So I guess in a way the Lord was preparing me that these are children of God, all of them,
Yes.
Yeah, as long as the church is Bible-believing and all, But so my home is Kampala Baptist Church in Kampala.
In Butaleja.
St. James Church of Uganda, Bugegere in Butaleja.
Okay.
Yes.
So my Lord, we want to talk about your career history.
Yes.
Because you have quite a history. Yes. So of course, after you finished your law degree, you went to LDC.
Yes.
Then after that? After
Law Development Center, this was 1989. In 1990, it was time to go to work. The Attorney General's Chambers advertised 50 vacancies.
So straight after LDC?
Yeah. Straight after LDC, we finish in whatever, and the very following year.
Wow.
We are starting to work as state attorneys in Attorney General's Chambers. That's in 1990. Yeah. And it was...
so what was that like?
It was quite interesting getting to work and putting in practice, because government is usually very thin on the ground, the personnel, and they have many cases. So you hit the ground running. And for most of us, we join law wanting to go to court, to litigate. That is the dream of most people who study law. So with Attorney General's Chambers, you immediately given a file and said there is a case tomorrow. Go and appear before the judge. Yes.
Okay.
So both are intimidating but fulfilling. Because, those first few appearances before a judge, you're quaking. Sometimes you are appearing against very senior lawyer.
You said that the dream of every lawyer is to litigate in court.
Yeah.
But what about having their own law firms? What made you decide not to think towards that?
Yeah, so the major thing was to set up a law firm, you need some resources, you need some clients.
Yes.
And then the law firms, you needed to know somebody to recommend you to begin working in a law firm. And there were not many that time.
Okay.
1990, there were very, very few law firms. Of course, we were also very few people graduating from Law Development Center, at most 60, but I think our class
Only
was
60?
Yes.
Compared to...
Yeah, because it was just Makerere
Yes, of course.
Law School, which was servicing Law Development Center, and the class in Makerere was maximum 60. But usually it would be below 60 because people would drop out for some reason. So I needed to start somewhere because I thought if I do 2 years in government, then I can build up a clientele, then I can get some money to buy chairs for my farm.
For your farm. So that was something you were working
yes, that was a plan.
Yeah.
That was a plan.
So what happened after that?
What happened is God kept closing that door and shepherding me
in another direction.
In another direction, basically not of going into private legal practice. And of course, I had to ask myself down the road, why did I want to go to private legal practice? And the quick answer is I wanted to make a lot of money. That was the motivation.
Very well.
Yes. That was the motivation. So, but as I went along, I think God was showing me, because now I was
you were born again.
Family born again.
So he was showing you purpose.
Yeah, he was showing me purpose. He was showing me law is such a. In fact, this is a quote from Thurgood Marshall, who was the first black person on the U.S. Supreme Court. He made a quote that law is such an important instrument of social transformation. To reduce it to just money would really be doing it a disservice. Yeah. So as I was moving along, I realized that, you cannot put money as a purpose for doing something. Definitely not something as powerful an influence in society as law. Yeah. So God helped me broaden
your perspective.
It's not that when you're in private practice, they cannot broaden it. Yeah, but for me, he needed to work on me because that was my reason for getting into private practice. So as it turns out, I stayed in public service up to now.
Yes, but break down. Because we had a one-on-one
breakdown. Yes.
So I know. Of course, after you said you worked in the.
So when I got in, I immediately got into that time it was Department of Civil Litigation.
Okay.
Litigation means go to court.
Yes.
And government, when you are in attorney generals in litigation, you are mostly on the defense.
Yes.
People are suing government.
Oh.
People in private practice are suing government because you're representing the police if it has beaten up people, the army, or other government entities. If they have done anything wrong, then somebody sues the government. Well, Attorney General represents all government departments.
So how long were you in the Attorney General's office?
I was in the Attorney General. So, okay, to answer that is, so when the professional thing was done, kind of, then there are matters of love also that come in that afflict young men and young women.
Yes.
So while I was at LDS, I fell in love. And you fall in love, and again, because of the way we had been brought up and also because of being born again, it has to be marriage. It has to be marriage. So
you met your wife in when you were in LDC?
So I met her. She was also coming to Kampala Baptist, but it is at LDC.
At that time.
It is at Law Development Center that because my mama said you have gone to study not to look for girls. Mothers were very strong influences once she told you something. So. While at the university, I closed that that avenue. So at Law Development Center, I thought, I think we need to deal with this issue. Yes. So I had been seeing Monica at church, and so by the end of Law Development Center, we had started dating, and 1990. My first year at Attorney General's, we went to Fort Portal and did the introductions. Now, what happened is she got a scholarship because at that time she had been in Budo teaching But then she had got an opening literature department in Makerere, and quickly got a scholarship to go and study mass communication in the US. There.
Okay.
So just after we had had our introduction, and then we got counsel that I had to go. I had to go and we get married.
You know,
so there were many options.
You know the way you have a book. I need to let the viewers know that you have a book that you have written.
Yes. I wrote a book, Loved by the Best.
Loved by the Best. Yes. And you give a detailed account.
Yes.
The time you went for your, do you call it Okwenjira?
They call it Kweranga in Fort Poto.
In Fort Poto.
Yeah.
And how you on the bus, and how you met the father of of your wife.
Yes.
Amazing book.
Yes.
Still in Aristoc. Is it available?
It is available. Actually, it's available on Amazon.
Yes, everybody should get it because because of course we don't have all the time to go into
tell the story.
To tell the story, but it is a beautiful story.
Thank you.
A very beautiful story
Thank you.
of your journey with your wife to be.
Yes. Yeah. So why you were asking me how many years I had been? So I did 1 year at Attorney General's, and then I had to leave the country
to go and be and study or be with Monica.
No, actually, my mission was very simple and specific. I was going to get married. Yes.
Wow.
I was going to get married. But when I got there, we got married, yes. But then I realized getting married to a student is not a simple thing.
Yes,
because they are studying. They are spending all their time studying, and
so you're at home.
Yes, you're at home. Yes. Yeah, and so I eventually also enrolled into school, and that's how I went.
Where was that? You said Iowa.
Yes, Iowa. University of Iowa.
Yes.
And how did we end up in Iowa? Because they asked her at the embassy, what university do you want to go to? But that time, you didn't know one part of the US from the other.
Yes.
So she was like, no, just place me where you want. And they placed us in Iowa. Very, very beautiful people. University of Iowa.
Nice.
At that time, about 99% white. We got there and some kids had never come up close to a black person. So they would want to touch. Very, very innocent. But the people, very, very nice.
Very welcoming and very warm.
And I have to mention that when we got there at the university, there was a doctor and his family who had been in Nigeria for 25 years, American doctor.
Oh.
Dr. Keith Plate and his wife Carol. They became like our
family.
They said, we've been in Africa for 25 years. We are actually more African than American. So let's learn America together.
Right.
So they took us in and the fellowship and the navigators ministry.
That's nice.
Yeah, so it was a very, very beautiful 2 years.
So my Lord, we have to go into a break right now.
Okay.
So viewers, we'll be right back after this break.
It's supernatural, it's uplifting, it's spiritual grounding at its best in television. A place for your spiritual nourishment daily, 24/7, 365 days all year round. Experience the Word of God back to back with a great lineup of programs for you, your friends, and family.
Manifest TV on StarTimes Channel 241, GoTV Channel 819, Free-to-Air Channel 19. Or better still, for your convenience, you can watch Manifest TV wherever you are on your mobile phone using the Phaneroo mobile app. Manifest TV, Christ Revealed.
Let it shine. You put in the hours to make your brand the greatest. You go the extra mile to allow it achieve success. It deserves to be treated the right way, to be given the attention it deserves, and not stay in the dark. Advertise with Manifest Television to get your brand into the light. Manifest TV, Christ revealed.
Welcome back from the break. You're still watching Soaring with Eagles show that is live on all Manifest platforms. My name is Pastor Joy Ninsiima, and today I have an amazing guest called Justice Mike Chibita. Before we went into the break, we were talking about his faith, his educational background, and then he touched a bit about his the way he met his wife at LDC when he was at the Baptist Church.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So now you are in Iowa.
Yes, we were in Iowa. We both studied.
Yes.
And so she graduated with her master's in journalism, and I graduated with my master's in law. But at that time, 1992, Uganda still had just one radio station, one TV station.
UBC.
UTV. UTV,
Yes.
Uganda Television, and Radio Uganda.
Yes.
So, but the liberalization was beginning to take place around that time. So she had learnt a lot of theory in Iowa, but she needed to actually practice with the radio station and the TV station so that when she comes to teach, she has both. So a gentleman from Northwestern College in Minneapolis told us they have a TV station and a radio station called KTIS, and invited her to go and work there for 9 months as an intern here. So the gentleman was called Paul Ramsey, very, very nice man. He passed on. But we went and stayed in Twin Cities, which is Minneapolis, St. Paul. And she worked at that station, and I taught. They found me some classes to teach. And then end of 93, we came back.
You came back to Uganda.
But we came back, 3 of us. Our first boy was born in Minneapolis, So we came with him when he was about 3 months.
Yes.
Yeah. And then...
so what happened when you came back?
When we came back, I thought I should now get into the private practice, which I had...
which you had.
Yes, I thought... but the Solicitor General then, who was Mr. Peter Kabatsi, called me back and said, no, you are not going anywhere. Continue working here. And the thing I was talking about, God opening doors and closing others, that was a definite. So I continued, and I did many things. I was appointed personal assistant to the Attorney General, first Attorney General, second Attorney General. Then I was asked to go and be seconded to the Constituent Assembly Commission. You remember there was a constitution-making process in 1995. And out of the elections for representatives, there were election petitions. And so they asked me to go and do election petition for the constituent there as a secondment. So I was in Soroti, Mbale, Kasese, doing electoral petition, defending the commission.
Yes.
Came back, and when I came back, then the Solicitor General, again, the same Mr. Kabatsi, asked me to go and represent him at State House and be the legal assistant to the president. Yeah.
So you were appointed from...
Yes, I was seconded from Attorney General's chambers.
Okay.
Yes, I was seconded.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how long did you stay in State House? How long
7
did you
years.
work?
7 years, yes. 7 years, yeah.
Okay.
Again, a very humbling experience. Something, again, which only the Lord could have done, because I never imagined. I actually told the Solicitor General, no, I was not ready to go and do that thing, because the president, as you may have heard or read. Very demanding, very on top of his game. So if you are not sure of what you are doing, and I didn't think I was, but the Solicitor General said, no, you will manage. If there's anything that you don't know, you consult me. So I went, and 7 years worked there. Very enriching experience. Learned a lot of things about how government works, and then at the end of 7 years, I left.
Oh, so where did you go now?
Then I went back to Attorney General's chambers.
Okay.
Yeah, so I had gone as a pupil state attorney. Now, when I came back, I had been promoted to principal state attorney. So I was at a certain level, supervising other people. But when you have worked at State House in the President's legal, and then going back to public service mainstream, things are not the same, because at State House working for the President, you are resolving problems. You find solutions immediately without breaking the law, but you find solutions. For example, if there is a problem in a certain ministry, then you call up the minister and say, what's going on? Let's do this, and you resolve. Now, in the public service, there is a hierarchy which you must follow.
Oh.
You cannot call a minister as a state attorney. You cannot call the permanent secretary. So when I got back, I found life was a bit slow. I knew where the solution lay, but to get there, I had to go through a lot of hopes.
Yes.
And this frustrated me. So at this time, I was invited by URA to join their legal department. But when I was hired, they said no. Instead of going to the legal department, come and work in the Commissioner General's office. So I was appointed the executive assistant to the Commissioner General, who was Allen Kajina at the time.
Yes.
Yeah. And I joined their management team, worked with Allen. Very, very fulfilling work environment. On top of their game, very ethical, and best practices of how work should be done. And of course, collection of taxes went up because of the work she was doing, and the work ethic, and the team she built up.
Yes.
Very, very formidable team.
Right.
Top management. Yeah. I mean, they had people like Jennifer Musisi, Doris Akol, now Justice Moses Kazibwe, somebody called Elnok Walgembe in enforcement, Peter Malinga in custom, Moses Kajubi is now with IMF. And so all the people were on that team. They are just, they were incredible people. I was very privileged to be part of that team. So after I had done my contract, the first one, then I got an invitation to join the bench, to become a judge. Those days, there were no applications. You did not apply to be a judge.
Which is
what
happens
you.
now.
Yeah, right now you have.
So they headhunt you?
Yeah, those days they would just headhunt you. You cannot
wow.
volunteer yourself.
Yes.
So they headhunted me, and in 1990, I was appointed a judge. Yeah. And I was posted to Masaka as my first station. Yes. So I went to Masaka, and I was later joined by the late Justice Musoke Chibuka, and very, very fine gentleman, one of the finest gentlemen that walked this earth. And I had been with him at the Constituent Assembly Commission. He was a deputy commissioner in charge of legal. So we worked together, and I was enjoying really working with him in Masaka. But you know, it's a journey. You never stay in one place for long. Before said, go to Fort Portal. You are going to be the resident judge in Fort Portal. Yeah.
So how were you handling family? Were they?
Yes. I actually told the principal judge then that, but you know, my wife is from Fort Portal, and so how will I be judging my in-laws? And he said, you know, you took oath. You took oath of allegiance. Yeah. Our oath says you will do justice to all manner of men and women, regardless, so without fear, favor, ill will, or affection. And so he told me that, therefore, that means whether it is your in-law or whatever, you just do your job. But of course, if there are situations where you cannot handle because it's very close family, then you recuse yourself
Yes.
and get another job.
I was actually talking about your family, having your family in Kampala.
Okay. So
you're now.
yes.
Yes.
Yeah, no, you know, when I was appointed to go to Masaka, it was the first time we had to deal with the issue of being apart.
Yes.
And of course, she had her job. She was lecturing at Makerere, and the children were relatively young. So we quickly made up a decision that they would stay and I would go to Masaka. So I would go to Masaka on Monday morning, leave here about 6, Kampala, and by 8 I'm in Masaka, 9 o'clock I'm in court. And then come back on Friday after court. Yeah.
Yes.
So weekends I was in Kampala, and that's what happened.
That's what happened as you went to Fort Portal.
Yes. But I was a longer time in Fort Portal because in Masaka I stayed there less than 1 year. But in Fort Portal I was there 2 years. 2011, 2012, yeah. And then mid-2013 is when I was called back to Kampala. Yeah, to join the land division as the deputy head of department, which I did for just
Deputy head of department.
the land division. Land is one of the divisions of the High Court.
Oh, okay.
So you have land, family, and corruption. Yeah. So there are several criminal.
Yes.
So, but that was very, very short-lived. I did it for just 6 months, and then I was appointed director of public prosecutions in 2013, end of 2013. DPP, yes. So, whereas I had thought I'm on the judiciary until I retire, now that door was miraculously opened by the Lord, because it's not something I dreamt about. It's not something I aspired for. But here the opportunity came, and I went in there.
Isn't it quite a challenging job?
It is. It is. I would say it's one of the most challenging jobs in the country. Yeah. One of the most challenging. First of all, it is very busy. Very, very busy. Then 2, it is very, very sensitive. Number 3, it is the public. The public is operating from your office almost. Everybody. And then the media. And then you have staff to deal with, many stakeholders. Yeah.
Then also, I guess there's also the threat on your life or your family.
Oh, yes.
Joan Kagezi.
Yeah, late Joan was killed when she was in the second day of prosecuting the Kampala bombing case. Yes. Oh, yeah. There were threats on life, not just mine, but many of my staff. Yeah. So it's one of those. At that time, you left home not knowing you get to the office, and left office not knowing you get home. So in a way, it also helps you deal with your mortality. You think about death and say, anytime.
Afterlife, yes.
So it's one of those moments where you had to come to terms with your mortality and say whether you are ready and all, and hand it in God's hands. So eventually I knew that if I left that office alive, it would not be because I had a lot of formidable security, which I did. But we were told when I would go for the prosecutors meeting internationally that, you have to do everything but the DPP of Egypt, they really wanted to eliminate him badly. So they just used the improvised electric devices. Where the car passed, they planted, and his car, the lead car, his car, the one behind, they were all blown up. So in a way, when it is your time, there is really not much you can do, but you have to do what you have to do, and then leave the rest to God.
Yes. Yeah. So after the DPP's office, where did you go? So when I had been in DPP's 6 years, that was now in 2019, end of 2019, I saw an advert for Supreme Court. Yeah. That's the highest level of...
That's the apex court, yeah.
Yes.
It is, there's High Court, Court of Appeal, and then Supreme Court. Yeah. So I thought and talked to some friends and said, the worst that can happen is you will not get it, but there's a possibility you could get it. So I applied, was invited for an interview, and I was appointed.
Wow.
to the Supreme Court. So in 2020, I joined the Supreme Court.
So you've been there from 2020 up to now?
Up to now,
Yes.
I've been at the Supreme Court.
So can you tell us the mandate, your mandate as a Supreme Court judge?
Yes. So as we already mentioned, the Supreme Court is the highest court in Uganda. Our mandate is to hear appeals from the Court of Appeal, both criminal and civil. But you know, the Court of Appeal also sits as a constitutional court. So when they hear matters and there's an appeal from the constitutional decision, then it also comes to Supreme Court appeals, constitutional appeals. Our third mandate is presidential election petitions.
Yes.
That is the only matter which originates at the Supreme Court, as is filed in the Supreme Court.
Right.
All other matters are filed High Court and Court of Appeal.
Yes.
But for presidential election petitions, they file directly at the Supreme Court.
The Supreme Court.
Yeah.
So how many judges are you? Because you can't be too many. Because when you say that you're the elections is when you sit if there is a dispute.
Yeah, when there is a dispute.
Yes.
Which there has always been.
Yes.
People have brought petitions.
You're almost about only 12 or something.
So we are 11.
You're 11.
11, yeah. We are 11. Now, when we're hearing an ordinary civil or criminal appeal, we sit 5 of us.
Okay.
On any one case, we sit 5.
Okay.
Then on the constitutional matters, we sit 7 of us. And then on a presidential
That's
petition,
when all of you sit.
Yes, all of us sit, or at least 9.
Okay.
Yeah, at least 9. It, I think, is sometimes not possible to have everybody, or 11, but it must be at least 9.
There must be many upcoming, people who are doing law, watching you, who are studying law.
Yeah.
Those who have finished LDC, the young lawyers, and they are watching you talk. What can you tell them about how you have persevered, how you have been able to go through these whole processes? What can you tell the young lawyers out there?
So I can tell them a number of things. One is you need to work hard wherever you are. You need to work hard and be focused. But I always reduce it into a number of things. Number one is work ethic. Wherever you are, you need to work hard. Give it your best. Because you are never going to go that way again. You are never going to be a first-year law student again or a third year. You do it once, so it's good you do it well. Number two, you always have to keep time. Whatever you do in life, distinguish yourself as somebody who keeps time. Let the lecturer find you in class. Let the judges find you in court. Other people find you. You should learn how to keep time. And this is, of course, a problem we have as a country, maybe as a continent. Timekeeping, we are very lax. But what will distinguish you from other people is how hard and smart you work, how you keep time. The third thing, being a lawyer, presentation. When I joined the law school, I really detested wearing a tie. I never wanted to wear a tie because I think naturally I prefer casual t-shirt and all. But it comes with the territory if you want to be.
Territory. Yes, I've noticed. LDC, they have to.
Yes, you just have to be comfortable with a tie and a jacket and all. So dressing, and which comes to also presentation. You must present yourself professionally. And then the other thing is about courtesy to other people. You know, you can be cocky and arrogant as a lawyer and all, but that will not really help you. It will not help other people anyway. And as a lawyer, it's a service. So you have to learn how to be courteous. It actually helps you much more than if you were.
Yes.
People like courteous people, and you go a longer way being courteous. And then, of course, the other thing is you have to learn how to make your case, to present your case. In other words, you have to be organized. You have to, because in law we look at the facts, we look at the issues, what are the issues, we look at the law applicable, and then we conclude. So you have to learn how to be structured in your arguments, in your presentations. You must love to read, you must love to write and summarize. Above all, I cannot end this without saying the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. That has been a big revelation for me. And unless the Lord guards the city, guard in vain. And unless the Lord builds a house, it can be in vain. So it is important for you to ground everything in the Lord, because He has the final say.
Because that's what has helped you.
Absolutely. Yes. His hand always, and availing myself of Him and knowing that actually He has a better plan for me, for each of us, and He created us. It's our job really to find our purpose that He has ordained for us. Life, I think, it doesn't necessarily become easier, but somebody's holding you by the hand, and so you are following somebody than trying to make it on your own. The world is too difficult to attempt it on your own.
On your own, that's true. You need other people around you.
You need other people, you need that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we're so proud. We're so proud of you and what you're doing for the nation.
Thank you.
May the Lord continue to preserve you and protect you and your family.
Thank you.
And we know that this is not the end, the Supreme Court judge. We do not know what God has in store for you.
No, what I can say is that you never know what God has. God has a way of surprising us and all.
Right.
Because Ephesians 3:20, you remember, to Him who can do all exceedingly, abundantly, much more than we ever think. And I used to think this verse exaggerates a lot, but I've seen it in my life.
You've seen it in your life.
God can do much more than you can ever think.
So I know that you came to Phaneroo and spoke to the
young people.
To the young people about faith and work. Yes. So we are connected.
Yes, definitely. And as I mentioned, as president of the Bible Society, I feel like I'm connected to all the churches, and I feel at home in all the churches, because we are doing the same work. The churches are doing the same work. And Bible Society of Uganda is a very good platform to bring them together, and it has done a great job. And God has been so gracious. They've been able to put up that building, 8 stories.
Very, very beautiful building.
Yes, beautiful building. And doing the work of, distributing Bibles, translating them in our language.
When you say distributing Bibles, you give them free of charge?
Not free of charge.
Okay.
And actually giving things free of charge is not a good idea.
Okay.
Yeah. But so if a Bible was to be costed at its value, production value, it will not be affordable to the ordinary person. Like that book I wrote is about 100 pages, and we are selling it $10. Now the Bible is like 10 times my book. So if you are looking at input and all, it would be unaffordable to the ordinary person. So Bible Society subsidizes greatly.
Oh, it subsidizes the price.
Subsidizes, But the other thing it does is it translates into local languages so that people read the Word of God in their own language.
I think you also have something for people who are blind.
Oh, yes. Braille Bibles. And then there are audio Bibles as well. Bibles
in different
languages. Yes. We now have them in several languages.
Yes.
So basically, just making Scripture accessible to people so that in their comfort zones, in their different environments, they can be able to access the Word of God, because the Word of God gives life. Yeah, it
That's
helps
true.
It makes a difference in people's lives. Yeah.
So, my Lord, I would like you to look into the camera. We've come to the end of the show.
Okay.
I do not know what's on your heart or what the Holy Spirit is telling you to tell the viewers. But you can look into the camera and tell them something.
Yeah. No, thank you very much for having me. It just happens that I lost a very close friend of mine, Dr. Jack Smith, passed away yesterday.
Oh, no, sorry.
And he's one of those people who really influenced. I met him when I was a first-year law student, and he held me by the hand, taught me many things, public speaking, writing for publication, counseling, and he has ended his journey. It just reminded me that we are in the world for a very short time, and we need to make the time that we are here count. Whatever your calling is, but definitely if it is in the law, use that legal knowledge, the law, to ensure that you impact other people. We are here in the world to glorify God. That's what I've found out. And that is what we have to do, because in a short time we'll be gone out of here. And so let's make our time count. I thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, my Lord. We wish you all the best. Please pass my regards to Monica and the children.
I will.
Yes. So viewers, would like to thank you so much for tuning in. I know that you have been inspired. I know that you have learned a lot. And until next time, my name is Pastor Joy Ninsiima. May the Lord bless you, expand your territories and borders, lay his hand upon you and keep you far away from evil. Bye-bye.